Flagler forced overtime on Saturday, but ultimately came up short against Young Harris. Tonight, the Saints look to get back into the win column as North Georgia visits St. Augustine. The Nighthawks boast one of the best players in the conference, if not the nation, in Frank Champion. Saints basketball starts now. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us here from St. Augustine Flagler Gym. Dave Wenda alongside Joe Harding, the women's assistant coach, and our producer, Laurel Plaxelberg, and our camera person, Michaela Roman. Joe, welcome to the broadcast. Glad to have you along.
Well, Dave, thank you very much. The women just played a very inspired, excellent execution, worked hard, came up short. North Georgia escaped with a win. They are the class of the league, and it would have been a great victory, but the confidence that our women now have after knowing that they can compete, stick with them for the duration and go, is going to hold well for the rest of the season.
Right. You beat Young Harris on Saturday in overtime. That showed a lot of, I think, character. And then you gave North Georgia everything they need. We'll talk a little bit more about the women's game, but let's concentrate on the men, starting with the starting lineups. First for North Georgia. The Nighthawks will send out at a guard 6'5", sophomore, number 3, Case Roach. At forward, a 6'7", sophomore, number 5, Frank Champion. At guard, a 6'5", junior, number 10, Hunter Stedenhelm. At guard, a 5'11", sophomore, number 3, Sutton Smith. And at swing, a 6'5", sophomore, number 15, Greg Billups Jr. Those are the starting lineups, or that is the starting lineup for Dan Evans, the head coach at North Georgia. And now the starting lineup for the Flagler College Saints. At a guard, a 6'1", sophomore, number 0, Jax Balknight. At guard, a 6'5", sophomore, number 2, Chase Fiddler. At forward, a 6'8", junior, number 5, Tyler Collier. Also up front at forward, a 6'9", sophomore, number 10, Kyle Young. And at guard, rounding out the starting lineup, a 6'3", junior, number 24, Malik Bryant. Saints are coached by Blake Selland in his first season. The associate head coach is Kip Owens, and the assistant is Sam Orff. Flagler makes its way out in their home whites, trimmed in red with red numerals, and North Georgia in their road blues with white lettering and white numerals. Well, the Nighthawks, Joe, have a star in Frank Champion, and he does it all. He's among the leaders in scoring, rebounding, but also blocks, steals, and assists. And rarely do you see that kind of combination of he can play big and he can play out on the perimeter and be effective all the way around.
He is so strong. Hopefully our boy Kyle, who is equally gifted in Division II, can offset that.
Talking to Coach Selland before the game, he said Kyle is going to have a big game defensively for the Saints to be successful here. And it's interesting, they start the two bigs, Tyler Collier and Kyle Young. Saints work it out. That's Malik Bryant, now Balknight, and they'll feed Young on the block. Goes to work. Into traffic, gives it up to Collier and has a shot rejected, and there's Champion. We talked about his block shot ability as well as everything he does defensively, and now we'll see him at the offensive end. Champion at the elbow. Billups, no. Badly missed on the mid-range jumper. And the Saints quickly into the front court. This is Fiddler, who's putting up good defensive numbers of his own. He leads the Saints in blocks and steals. And, of course, a three-point marksman at the offensive end. This is Bryant, now Balknight. Kyle Young in the short corner. Back to Balknight with 4 on the shot clock. Double team comes. Kyle Young needs to get rid of it. I'm not sure he realizes it. And it's a shot clock violation.
I like Coach Selland's departure from where they've been, featuring the two big guys. Tyler Collier, you mentioned, he came off a terrific game against Young Harris, and I hope they stick with it because I think between he and Kyle, they can offset some of Champion's abilities.
And perhaps create some mismatches with the two bigs inside as well. Collier is a load, and he gets that rebound. Here's Bryant cut off as he tries the baseline, and they'll work it back out to Balknight, who will reset. Caught off in the lane, gives it up to Young. Reverse layup is good. Sharing the basketball, you got to love that as a coach.
When you see a 6'9" big do a backdoor cut like that for a layup, that makes a coach pretty happy.
At the other end, the shot is blocked by Flagler, adding to his team lead in the category. Saints hustle it into the front court. Faulknight goes behind the back, gets tied up, and a foul, I believe, is called on Sutton Smith, number 13. It will be his first personal and the first team foul for the Nighthawks.
This is a great matchup for Flagler. They're 2-4 in the conference. North Georgia is 4-1. So we have them at home. This is the game you want to win. Two contrasting styles. Flagler College takes twice as many threes as North Georgia does. We'll see what they do for adjustments tonight.
Collier inside, goes up strong and scores off the window. Tyler Collier, and it's a 4-0 Flagler lead. The crowd has really filled out too, compared to what we had for the women's game. A decent crowd there, but the students have really come out in force, and hopefully they'll give some support to the Saints here and some energy as well.
It's nice to have them back in town. This was the first day of classes for the second semester, so we have a good representation of the student body here tonight.
Here's Young splitting a double team in just a little too strong as he went right to the rack. And here's Champion at the, not Champion, it's Billups. Looks a lot like Champion, number 15, not number 5, and it's the first points of the game for North Georgia. Flagler to Young. Back out to Flagler, works off the screen from Young, now needs some help to Collier. 9 to shoot. Bryant, Flagler. Tries a 3 and missed it. Champion, back to Smith. Gets it back, working on Young, and that one poked away. It'll stay here with North Georgia.
Good defense by Kyle Young then. It didn't allow Champion to get into the box area, knock the ball out of bounds.
Giancarlo Bastianoni steps in. Bastianoni had a couple of big games this year for the Nighthawks. This one was a great one up in Georgia back in December. That one left short, but an offensive rebound. And there's Bastianoni scoring.
That was a nice feed by Champion. He drew 2 players, bounced it underneath, and they got the layup.
Tied at 4 as we clock under the 16-minute mark. Flagler has it, now to Faulknight. Collier inside, working hard, and a strong move as he got inside of Champion and used the rim perhaps a little bit to fend off the defender. And a turnover as the Nighthawks throw it away. That's our under 16 media timeout. You're listening and watching to Flagler Saints basketball on the PBC Network. And welcome back. We've talked a lot about Frank Champion here in the opening minutes of this game. He's one of the best players in the conference, if not the nation. Second in scoring in the league, first in rebounds, second in field goal percentage, third in assists, third in blocks, fifth in steals. How do you slow down a guy like that, Coach?
Well, you try to minimize his effect on the offensive end. But one thing that Flagler is doing right now with Coach Sullen playing the two bigs is we are attacking him on the offensive end and making him really work on defense. And over the course of the game, that's going to have some effect on his ability to score. Wear him down.
Bryant has it for the Saints. To Fiddler into the corner. Balknight. Now Collier in the low block. Balknight gets his defender in the air. Steps back. Three. No. Rebound to Bastianoni. Here comes Champion weaving his way through, going right at Kyle Young and scoring so smooth.
You can't let someone of his caliber get the ball inside the three-point line and not have a defender there to slow him down. That was a great Euro step that he finished with.
Young misses on the three at the other end. And this is A.J. White, number 0. He gives it up, and Champion shows the range on the jumper. It's a long two, and North Georgia has claimed the lead at 8-6.
Well, as you mentioned, he shoots over 61% from field goal range, but he's not a three-point shooter, so that does give you an opportunity to double up on him inside.
Bryant left alone for three and missed it long to go out of bounds and back over to the Nighthawks. Substitutions coming in for the Saints. Number 4, Jalen Lemons, as well as another of the newcomers, Boom Reeves. Boom Reeves was impressive with the athleticism he showed, particularly at the defensive end, if you had a chance to see that game on Saturday, Coach.
I watched it later in the day, and he has not played that much this year, but I was impressed how the chemistry that he showed being out on the floor and his defensive effort.
That's a two-pointer from White from the free throw line. Of course, the Saints without their best defender, Jalen Barr, who's out for the season. Malik Bryant just lost it on the way up.
Yeah.
It looked like he had a clear lane to the hoop, and here comes Champion the other way. And that one partially changed and blocked, I believe, by Reeves. So we talk about him. He's not necessarily a Jalen Barr caliber defender, but who is? Young is not shy about shooting from that distance despite being a big guy. The transfer from Siena College gets it back, and he will try this three and make it. Kyle Young for three, and Flagler back within a point.
What a benefit to have a 6'9" player with his agility and his touch from the three-point line.
Charles gives it up, and the three-pointer off target from Billups. Bryant's going to attack at the other end, goes right into the teeth of the defense, and that one blocked out of bounds. And more changes coming as Spencer Bain and Omar Figueroa check in. Balknight and Bryant get a breather.
You know, Flagler shoots over 40% from the three. They're one of the better three-point shooting teams in the league. And if they can stay within themselves, hit that percentage, and minimize Champion's impact, we're going to have a great ball game.
This is Lemons handling and working off the screen from Young. Now to Bain on the right side. Bain's among the leader in assists, as well as, again, being an outstanding three-point shooter. They're all up and down the roster, and he'll try his first, and it rattles around and goes down. Spencer Bain knocks in a three, and Flagler back on top.
Excellent ball movement by Flagler on that session.
Inside, and a whistle, and I believe a foul it will be against Kyle Young. That is his first personal. We'll see if Sellen opts to sub him out here, and it looks like Collier may be coming in. As stepping to the line is Caden Charles. North Georgia, coached by Dan Evans in his 4th season, previously the head coach at Ohio Dominican, played at D3 Lawrence University, was a 3-year starter and a captain, all conference as a senior. And he's slowly building the Nighthawk program, kind of reminiscent of what Chad Warner did here at Flagler. taking a program and improving it each year. And then, of course, Flagler 2 seasons ago, we should say, went all the way to the Final Four. Coach Warner now has departed as assistant at Furman. And Blake Sellen, his longtime assistant, has taken over the head job. And a turnover from the Saints. A good-looking backdoor cut. Yep. Just the pass was a little hard to handle for Spencer Bain. And it takes us to the under 12 timeout. You're watching Saints basketball on the PBC Network. And welcome back to a noisy Flagler gym here in St. Augustine. It's a good start for both clubs. Flagler leads at 12-11, and they'll show some full court pressure out of the timeout as Boom Reeves will be right on the inbounds pass. North Georgia negotiates the pressure. Bastianoni gives it up to White, and a whistle. A foul coming on Flagler. This will be on, I believe, Lemons, number 4. And it is on Jalen, his first personal. Non-shooting foul. And substitutions as Champion checks back in, as well as Billups. And they'll replace Case Roach and Caden Charles. Champion right at the rim. Reeves and Collier defending. I don't think that caught any rim, so the shot clock continues to wind down, and Bastianoni lost it on a good-looking pass from Billups, but a tough reception, and it's a turnover.
That was a good defensive stand by Flagler.
Bain gives it up to Lemons. Long three on the way. Short. Bastianoni with the rebound. Tough shot inside from White. Good defense by the Saints, and they want to run. Bain open for three. Knocks it down. Spencer Bain.
That's Flagler basketball. The transition, finding the open player, Spencer Bain, for the three, and he nails it.
Shoots 43% from three-point land. Also second on the team in assists. White working through the lane. The runner rolls off the rim, and the rebound to Lemons. Saints have turned over most of the roster from those NCAA clubs of the last couple of years. Gone are guys like Jacek Lottie and Chris Metzger. There's a foul inside. Reeves and the finish. Reeves showing the athleticism and the strength to take the contact and then stay with it and finish.
That's a great play. It looked like the defender had Reeves bottled up on the baseline. He showed patience, faked like he was going to come to the middle, went the other way under the baseline with a reverse layup, and got fouled.
So Reeves goes to the line to complete the three-point play, misses the free throw. Flagler has opened up a 6-point advantage here halfway through the first half. Billups to Champion, top of the key. Now a little pick and roll game. Champion gets it back in the short corner. Goes to work on Collier. Turnaround is good. Tough to defend.
He's so strong. He was able to go into Collier, bump him, and still have the wherewithal to smoothly finish.
Collier goes right back at him, but he draws, or he commits the foul on the player control foul, and a good job by Champion at both ends.
Yes, he's a smart player. That looked a little bit of a flop. I didn't see a lot of contact there, but that's what great players do.
Champion, just a sophomore from Lithonia, Georgia, and it'll be interesting to see in this era of the transfer portal if you can keep a guy like that, or does he jump to the Division I level, perhaps at a mid-major or that kind of thing for his final 2 years of eligibility.
That has really started to become the trend, hasn't it?
Billups gives it to Champion. Collier again has the defensive assignment. Back out top, three-pointer, short, rebound Lemons. Saints can get up and down the court, going defense to offense so quickly. Collier hands off to Figueroa, and he draws contact. That's a blocking foul, and Figueroa will not shoot here. I don't believe it's a shooting foul, was it? He's stepping to the line, I guess it was.
He did a quasi-Euro step and showed great patience waiting for Tyler to go back door, which he did, and the defender dropped off and he was able to put the shot up, and they reached in and fouled him.
So Figueroa at the free throw line. Figueroa, transfer from the University of North Alabama from Puerto Rico. He's a sophomore in eligibility. And again, you think about what the Saints lost from the last couple of years. The two-time player of the year, Jacek Lottie, Chris Metzger, who was a second-team performer, Jalen Barr, who was a defensive player of the year,
yes.
Derek Ellis Jr., who was a tough-as-nails point guard who provided great defense and great ball handling. And, of course, maybe the biggest loss, Chad Warner. But Blake Sellen continuing out of the Warner coaching tree and trying to keep the success going. Collier hits the floor, and it's an easy bucket by Caden Charles as that kind of cleared out the middle in front of the basket. That's a lot of contact without a whistle.
I would say that was definitely a lot more contact than what we would just call for down at the other end.
Charles walks, and I got caught up between dribbles there as Young and Bryant re-enter. Reeves heads to the bench. And so, I think Figueroa's headed that way too. Go ahead, Coach.
We're a little bit past the halfway mark of the first half, and you can see the contrasting styles. Obviously, North Georgia depending a lot on Champion, and Flagler doing what they do best, setting each other up for good-looking field goal attempts, both from the three and inside.
Figueroa on a fadeaway three, left it short. And Champion will bring it up himself, spinning into the lane. Hits the ground as he got tangled up in the lane, and now gets it right back. Champion, they work it around the perimeter, now going baseline and leaving it short. Is Charles, rebound to Young, dangerous pass, Figueroa on the run out, and he scores! Defense turning into offense and more good sharing of the basketball.
Great control by Figueroa.
And a whistle, and I look down, it's a player control foul again against North Georgia, and that will get us to the under 8 timeout. Flagler leads it by 6 on the PBC network. And welcome back here to a noisy and fairly crowded Flagler gym. You can't necessarily see it in the camera shot because on the far side they're not nearly as full as the crowd here on the near side, which is predominantly students, and seeing a lot of athletes out here supporting the Saints as well. Bryant passes on the shot. Malik Bryant has been quiet for the Saints thus far. He's the leading scorer at 17 points a game. Here he is with the basketball, working at the free throw line. Gives it up to Lemons for three. And Billups yanks down another board. Pass intended for Champion. Kyle Young blocked it for a moment, and then Champion gets it right back and scores. And Young kind of shrugs his shoulders like, what more can I do there?
That was a fortuitous basket, 50-50 ball, volleyball around, and it happened to come back to him.
Young misses from way out, and it goes back over to North Georgia. You're talking about the contrast in styles offensively.
North Georgia, obviously, they want the ball in Champion's hands, and have you seen the last 4 trips down the floor, Flagler has done a great job of boxing him up and keeping him outside the lane. So he's missed a couple shots, and then he's had to throw it back out. Flagler, on the other hand, in transition, has monopolized getting easier baskets, if you will.
Right to the rim goes A.J. White, and White has 4 points in the game. Flagler doesn't give them much of a break as they hustle it right back into the front court. Bain has that kind of range, and now he'll take the shot. And I was hoping he'd prove me right. Left it just a little short. It goes back over to the Nighthawks.
That was probably an ill-advised attempt because the defender was coming out in a reckless mode. He should have put it to the floor and see what developed, maybe getting it to one of the big guys.
Champion will hand it off to White. Now into the corner, Billups. White bounces it for Champion, gets Young in the air. Too strong, good defense by Kyle Young, and Champion looks a little frustrated after that play.
Well, Kyle used he has great length, and without overdoing his physicality, he just got in Champion's vision of the rim and made him take a bad shot.
So Chase Fiddler will inbound as North Georgia will extend things defensively. Balknight gets it, but he's in the corner, passes out of it before the double team comes. And then Fiddler does a good job just retaining possession. Young calling for the ball. And the Saints will work it back and reset on the perimeter. Balknight, nifty bounce pass for Young, but not able to find the handle. And an alley-oop from Billups. A.J. White fed Greg Billups Jr. on a beautiful alley-oop play. And it's a 6-0 run for North Georgia, back to a tie game. Bryant, extra pass, Collier, not necessarily his strong suit, but we'll take it. A three-pointer for Tyler Collier.
Well, that bodes well, having 2 big guys on the floor right now. If Tyler can hit that, it's going to create a lot of problems for North Georgia in trying to defend Kyle Young underneath, and at the same time not letting Tyler Collier get such a good look.
Bastianoni with an answer for the Nighthawks. Young gets inside, gets Champion in the air, scores, and draws the foul. Kyle Young with a very strong move in the post.
Now that bounce pass had the perfect tempo, hit him right where at the chest where he needed to be, and then the pump fake. Now listen, that's a pro move. He jacked Champion up in the air, waited, and finished, and now let's hope he can get the three-point play.
Kyle Young, a sophomore, he played 2 seasons at Siena and then redshirted a season ago for the Division I program up in New York, averaging 15.3 points a game, second in the league in rebounds a game at 9.4, and 5th in field goal percentage. Very athletic family. His mom and dad, both athletes at Syracuse. His brother Ryan plays basketball at Duke, and his sister played volleyball at George Washington. There's a three-pointer, and it's good. That is Case Roach, sophomore from Travelers Rest, South Carolina. Offensive foul, Collier with the big body, and taking the charge was Case Roach, and that was just kind of a bull in a china shop.
This is a good time for a timeout. We were clearly a little bit out of rhythm and didn't know exactly where we were on the floor. So it all comes back to not trying to do too much. You mentioned Malik Bryant earlier. He's playing a control game right now. Maybe he's not scoring, but he's rebounding, and he's playing great defense. And you kind of have to let the game come to you and not try to do the too much and then create a turnover with an offensive foul.
Flagler fans, if you want to support all Flagler athletic teams, join the Saints Club. Visit FlaglerAthletics.com and click on the Saints Club link for details. Well, meanwhile, Coach, we talked a little bit at the top of the game about the Flagler women, and you've been around the program now 16 years. The women lose 70-66, but again, as you mentioned, to the perennial power North Georgia, a team that went all the way to the Final Four, lost their big player, but still have Carolyn Martin, who's a very just a great all-around guard in terms of her ability to score, handle the ball, play good defense. It seems like after talking to Coach Smith earlier that your squad is finally fully healthy with the exception of Sophie Van Dyke, who wasn't getting a lot of minutes to begin with. Tell us just sort of the state as you see it from inside the women's program.
Well, right now, with having injured players back, developing that chemistry with having players on the floor that haven't been there before. But we showed a greater amount of fight tonight. We had a better field goal percentage, better three-point field goal percentage. We took more free throws. We beat them in every statistic except turnovers. They're a smart team. They don't beat themselves. They escaped tonight. They know they got lucky.
Good term for it, escaping. And the Saints force a turnover here. Brian has the basketball. He'll hoist up the three. Billups had it tapped away by Fiddler, but right into the hands of White.
You see the way the game is developing. I mean, we're under 4 minutes, and it's still only 26-26. And, oh, that's a heck of a drive.
White goes right into the teeth of the defense and scores it. Flagler likes to put a lot of points on the board. They're first in the league in scoring and last in the league in scoring defense. So that means high-scoring games.
Exactly.
Kyle Young with a big move inside, and Bastianoni may have changed it a little bit right as he got to the rim.
You know, here's an opportunity with Champion out of the game to put a little stop on the North Georgia offense and try to get a run going, get a little separation.
Billups leaves it short. Balknight quickly into the front court. Nice bounce pass for Kyle Young from Jax Balknight.
I was just about to say the post needs to touch this ball, and they just executed that slip, and Kyle finished it with a two-hand thunder dunk.
Bastianoni, no on the mid-range jumper. Tied at 28. We've had 4 ties in the game. And that one thrown away by Balknight. And Champion will check back in with 2:08 to go. And presumably he'll be in here for the stretch run of this first half.
So I don't think either team has established any dominance in rhythm of play other than to say North Georgia is keeping the score down. But clearly we're in the game.
Extra pass to Champion inside, and what a great look from Case Roach to make it easy for Champion. Got his defender in the air and then threaded the needle. Fiddler working off the screen of Young. Now Balknight tries the baseline. Lost it on the way up. Last touch by North Georgia.
I'm impressed with number 0 for North Georgia, A.J. White, both defensively and offensively.
Young steps through and scores with the left hand.
What a great up and under move. Again, someone 6'9" with that kind of agility you don't normally see in Division II.
He was a productive player at the Division I level, just needed a change of scenery. And the 3 is a long rebound off the miss. And now intercepted by Reeves.
Great read by Reeves. North Georgia trying to make a pass across the basket line. He jumped the lane and picked it off.
Balknight, that quick first step, and Champion met him at altitude to change the shot. Balknight, they said, worked a lot with and tries to pattern his game against Jacek Lottie, the great point guard from the last couple of years for the Saints, the All-American. And you see glimpses of that in the way he has that quick start, stop kind of motion. Very good at handling the ball and lightning fast when he really gets up to speed.
We need to have that type of play, and he went at just the right time. They gave him an opening, and, like you said with Lottie, what a great finisher. I'm sure, Jax, he's going to get there, and you have to do that.
Phillips to White in the corner. Spencer Bain on the defensive side, and Balknight comes from behind with the steal, and here's the speed. Gives it up to Bryan into the lane. No whistle. Bodies hit the floor. North Georgia comes away with a loose ball, and then Bain takes it right back. Bain for 3. This place was about to go crazy. And now the shot clock turned off. You would think North Georgia would hold for a final shot here. And I think that's what Coach Dan Evans is saying from the bench. Instead, White fires, and that'll do it on an entertaining first half, 30-30. After one half, Blake Sellen talking to the officials, but it was a pretty good, as we wait for the coach to come up for the interview, your thoughts on the first half?
Well, as I said earlier, Dave, neither team established any dominant tempo. And I'm sure the coaches are going to be talking to the players at halftime about their basketball intellect, because, yes, Spencer's a great three-point shooter, but with only 12 seconds left on the clock at the end of the half, he would have been better served to see what else was available and not give North Georgia a chance to come down and score. And then on their end, they didn't show any urgency and threw up a long 3, and that's where it ended at 30-30.
And joining us now is Kip Owens, the associate head coach, as we trade out headsets. Coach, thanks for taking the time. Your thoughts, it seems like the score-wise, this is more what North Georgia had in mind in terms of keeping it in the 30s, but your thoughts so far on the first half?
Yeah, like you said, they did a really, really, really good job of kind of dictating the pace of play, and that's a credit to them. They're well coached, they're tough, they're disciplined. And then they did a great job of loading the paint up, especially when Malik had the ball in transition and when Kyle had the ball in transition. They really loaded up where we saw their whole defense. So if we can get a couple where we break through in there, we get a couple at the rim, hopefully that'll open things up. Then we'll get some of those transition threes that we really, really like to see.
You know, Champion is obviously a focus for you guys defensively. How would you rate how you handled him in the first half?
You know, he had 10 in that half. I mean, he's a really good player. He's one of the best players in the league. The thing that I was disappointed in, he got a couple of his buckets after we didn't get 50-50 balls. Like, very rarely did he just beat us one-on-one and go make a play. It was in a broken floor. We didn't get a 50-50 ball, or maybe we didn't quite load up the way we need to. But I thought our guys' fight was really, really good, and if we see that for 20 more minutes, I'll be really proud of them.
All right, Coach, thanks a lot. Yep. We'll let you go.
Yeah, thanks so much.
That's Associate Head Coach Kip Owens, 30-30, and we'll take a timeout here on the PBC Network. do 4-14. Yeah, rebounds, that's good. 21, 14. And then was it turnovers? 8 and 8. And can you preview it? Scores. That's good. So what we'll do is, with about a minute and a half left on the clock, I'll bring it back. We'll put the stat. You can insert the stat. I don't know. We don't have to. Yeah, clear that. Yeah. welcome back. Glad to have you with us here from St. Augustine Flagler Gym. It's noisy here. The students are back. The band is back. And looking at the first half stats, we have Coach Joe Harding from the women's program here. What did you see in the first half, especially as you look at the box score?
Well, we know that each team has a different style, and as expected, Champion had 10 points for North Georgia. He was the leading scorer, and his sidekick, Phillips, number 15, he was the leading rebounder in the first half with 9 rebounds. But the good news for Flagler is that between Tyler Collier and Kyle Young, they were 9 for 13, shooting 62% from the field. They accounted for 17 points. So the inside game has favored Flagler. Hopefully in the second half, when you look at the 3-point stats for the first half, North Georgia was 1 for 8. That's not their strength. But Flagler was only 4 of 14. 14, 15 points below their field goal 3-point average. So I expect them to do better than that in the second half, and if we can maintain that inside the lane superiority that we've shown in the first half, that bodes well for the second half.
You mentioned offensive rebounds as well as an issue.
Yes, the Nighthawks have 3 offensive rebounds, which isn't a big number, but we have none. And so when you look at the shooting stats, they've taken 3 more shots than we have. So that's a little bit of a difference, but that's why we're at 30-30. Everything's so even.
We are ready for the start of the second half. And it'll be Nighthawks basketball. Tied at 30 after 1. Leading scores, it was Champion, as you might expect, with 10 points in the first half. And for the Saints, Kyle Young led the way with 11. Inside it goes. Guess who? Frank Champion.
Yeah, they made that look easy. Great entry pass.
Chase Fiddler. Back out to Collier. He hit a long shot in the first half. And now they get it to Young. 8 on the shot clock. Balk Knight had a shot changed right at the rim and nearly completed a spectacular reverse layup.
Great pass from Kyle Young to open him up along the baseline.
Fake from Roach. And Bryant comes away with a rebound, and then a couple of players hit the ground hard behind the play, so it's 4-on-4. And Roach is injured behind the play, and this is a bit of a bad break for the Saints, who had the 5-on-4 advantage, but you don't want to have further injury with the guy down on the floor. He and Kyle Young went down in a heap, and I think Roach got the worst of it as Young has that big body.
Yeah, it was an unfortunate collision, accidental, and it looks like his ankle or knee got underneath Kyle, and he took the full brunt of the big guy's weight going down. But the officiating, they did the right thing. They did not take away the advantage in terms of the ball going to the hoop, but once it came back out, they blew the whistle, which is the right thing to do.
So Roach limps to the sideline, but under his own power. And it will be Flagler ball from the baseline with 19 on the shot clock. Up top to Collier, and now Bryant.
What a move by a 6'9" big man. He looked like a point guard. He was so low to the floor on the dribble and came up on the reverse layup.
He really does have kind of guard-like skills in the big man's body. Coach Sellen thinks he can be a real force in the Peach Belt Conference as he gets to know the league, he gets comfortable playing, but obviously a transfer from a good D1 program in Siena.
And I'm not taking anything away from his back to the basket skills because he's shown them as well tonight.
This is Champion going to work on Young. Bryant intercepts the skip pass. And he's cut off by Billups as he makes his way into the front court. Now back to Young. Talked about making Champion work hard defensively. Here's an example of that. And Young with a beautiful turnaround hook shot.
He put 3 moves on Champion, got him to come up in the air, got him off balance, turned and made that little half hook shot. Great touch.
Flagler back on top and a one and done possession for the Nighthawks. Here's Balknight revving the engine and then backing off a little bit, picks up the screen. They were looking for Collier on the backdoor cut. Well defended by Bastianoni. Now Young in the teeth of a double team, and Champion wins that battle. From the elbow, floater way off. And another rebound for Young. Just his third of the game. Balknight in trouble, gives it up to Young, attacks, scores, and draws the foul. The and one from Kyle Young. Balknight staying with it even though he got tangled up in a double team, got it off to Young, and the finish and the foul.
What great composure for Balknight. They had him smothered. He didn't panic. He brought the ball back in, got tough, and then he laid a beautiful low touch pass to Kyle Young, who went in and finished, and he just finished the three-point play.
So Young up to 18 points already on 8 of 13 shooting from the floor. And it's a 5-point Flagler lead. Coach Sellen talked about the parity in the conference. So many good teams up and down the...
Wow.
Nearly a travel, as you mentioned, Coach.
Oh, they missed that.
Bryant has it taken away, and Champion's out front. Look out, here comes Fiddler. And he'll lay off as Champion is a load going to the hoop, and the net gets caught up in the rim.
Yeah, that's unfortunate because I thought here we are in transition. Got a chance for another 2. Go up 5, get a little separation, but not to be.
Bryant left open for 3. Knocks it down. And if we could get more of that from Malik Bryant, those are his first points of the ball game. That's hard to believe.
You knew it was coming, Dave, and that bodes well for the rest of the game. That was a clutch shot.
Bryant leading the team in scoring. At 17 points a game, just registered his first bucket at about the 16-minute mark of the second half. And there's Fiddler, I think, picking up the foul. Either Fiddler or Young on this one. And should send the Nighthawks to the line. But not before a timeout. You're watching Saints basketball on the PBC Network. And welcome back. Stepping to the line for the Nighthawks is Shedenhelm. Hunter Shedenhelm, the junior from Pickerington, Ohio. Or Pickerington, excuse me. It's a 6-point Flagler lead. And, Coach, you're talking about Champion, and maybe a weakness in this game is that he doesn't necessarily have the outside shot, so the Saints can pack it in defensively and make him challenge him to take that shot or attack.
Which allows our big people to be inside. When the other North Georgia players are driving to the hoop, there's plenty of help. And on that particular instance, before the timeout, we had 3 people in the paint, and unfortunately, we reached in and fouled on a shot that the North Georgia player was not likely to make. He was just surrounded. But that's discipline, and hopefully we'll correct that as the game goes forward. That was an unfortunate turnover there.
It's a travel call on Chase Fiddler as the Saints brought it into the front court. Gives it back to North Georgia. Down 4, here's Champion, draws the double team, and a travel. Must have picked up the pivot foot.
You really have to compliment Tyler Collier there. He bodied up on Champion. Champion gave him 2 up fakes. He never left his feet. The help was coming, and then he shuffled and got called for the travel.
Collier has those big body genes. Dad played for the Philadelphia Eagles, so physicality, strength, size, all part of his game, and he's kind of bided his time. And there he is inside, just couldn't get the close one to go. Collier's been patient, waiting in the wings behind guys like Chris Metzger and Cole Roberts, and now getting lots of playing time with those guys graduated. Bastianoni inside.
Great effort, offensive rebound putback.
Balknight working off the screen from Collier, hits the floor, and a held ball, jump ball, possession arrow will keep it here with the Saints. Well, Flagler comes in 8-9 overall, 2-4 in the PBC, but 6 of those 9 losses were to top 25 teams. They played a rugged schedule, including 11 of their first 12 away from home. Now they can settle into the conference schedule, have as many home games as road games, and I think we'll see the real Saints squad start to show itself. Oh, a no-look pass, and Collier was not ready for it.
Yeah. No, you got to tip your hat to the coaching staff. And maybe that was a benefit to have so many away games, because that provides a lot of team bonding. They played a very tough schedule, which is smart, and trying to fill that gap that you mentioned earlier with Jalen Barr going down for the year. They've done a great job, and they're going to be a factor in this league.
Champion can't get it to fall. Reeves battling for the board, and it goes over to the Saints. Last touch by the Nighthawks.
Great effort by Tyler. Good defense. And then when the North Georgia player came in from underneath the basket, Tyler didn't let him get the offensive rebound.
We'll take some time to get the moisture up off the floor, as Shedenhelm will try to deny the inbounds pass, and the Saints will need some help. Reeves comes into the backcourt. There's Balknight to Reeves. Swing it around. Jalen Lemons to Bryant. Tries the baseline. Lost it, and it's another turnover for the Saints. That is 12. Champion drawing the double team every time he touches it now. That ball went up and touched the guide wire over the basket, and it's out of bounds back over to Flagler.
Well, North Georgia continues not to be able to monopolize a wide open three-pointer, and we've been able to maintain this slight lead in the second half. If we can just put together a 7 or 8 point run and get some separation, that's going to create some issues.
They got to take care of the basketball, though. That one slips through Reeves' hands. And back over to the Nighthawks. Who will get hot for the Saints? Who will join Kyle Young, who's already hot with 18 points? Seems like they need another scorer, another option, especially with Young on the bench here. Reeves pokes it away. They are making Champion work even to get the ball on the offensive end.
Absolutely. They've done a great job denying and forcing the other players to make plays.
White hoists up a three. No, and the shooting woes continue now. 1 of 11 from downtown for the Nighthawks. And Young comes back in. He gives Collier a breather. Champion hands it off to White. Good defense by Kyle Young, standing his ground on the attack from Charles. And a technical foul called against, I believe it's the head coach, was it not? Dan Evans.
Yes.
Picks up the tee. Arguing for a foul, I presume, on that last play at the offensive end for the Nighthawks. And it sends Omar Figueroa to the line to shoot the technical.
Yeah, he was way too animated, and it wasn't called for that particular moment. He'd already been on the referee for a previous just underneath the basket and got a warning. So he's only got himself to blame on that one. But sometimes those things motivate the team.
Figueroa makes both technical free throws, and it stays with the possession stays with the Saints. Figueroa right down the lane has a shot rejected by the smaller White. Or roughly the same size, I should say. White at 5'10", Figueroa 6 feet.
A great save by Jalen Lemons to bounce it off the...
And thrown away on an inbounds pass. We've seen it a couple of times here in the second half.
Yeah. Flagler's been a little sloppy over the first 6 or 7 minutes. They're going to need to correct that. We still have a 4-point lead, but we need to expand that. You don't want to leave a team like North Georgia and a champion in a 2-point game coming down the stretch.
White misses badly. Saints want to run in transition. Spencer Bain gets the flyby. Leaves the three short. Rebound corralled by Charles. On the run out, it's White with the finish.
Yeah.
We talked about Saints sharing the basketball. That was good unselfish play by the Nighthawks.
Absolutely. That's one of those moments. The gym is waiting to erupt. And Tyler made a great...
Figueroa for three.
That makes up for the missed one just a minute ago. So...
back to a 5-point Saints advantage. And it goes to Champion, and he's fouled by Kyle Young. That'll get us to the under 12 timeout. Saints 45, Nighthawks 40 on the PBC network. And back at Flagler Gym, Frank Champion steps to the free throw line.
Well, as you said, Dave, we're at the point in the game where we need a couple of Flagler players to step up and start scoring. We're up 3, and when you impact the number of turnovers we've had, oh my goodness,
there's another one.
There's another one.
And they're not necessarily turnovers because of great defense by the Nighthawks. Some of them are unforced errors, like the no-look pass on the inbounds play. That one just a little too tall on an open look.
Exactly.
There's a two-pointer, they'll say. Caden Charles with a long 2, and he's tied the game at 45. Young back out to Bain. 8 on the shot clock. Cut off. Gives it to Figueroa. 4 to shoot. Figueroa fadeaway, tough shot. Reeves comes flying through, but can't harness the rebound. White gets his defender in the air, gives it up. Billups for 3. And the Nighthawks have come back to take the lead 47-45.
That's the first time in the game that they've hit consecutive shots from beyond 15 feet. So it comes at a bad time for the Saints, where they're trying to fight off 2 turnovers.
Spencer Bain trying to scoop it home, and he draws the foul on a tough shot, but it'll send Spencer Bain to the line to shoot free throws.
The North Georgia defense over the last 3 or 4 minutes has really clamped down. The Saints have not been able to get any touches deep in the zone from the post for any inside-out game, and we have not had any good looks. So that was a good play by Spencer to take it to the rim and come away with something. And let's hope he makes the second one here.
He's an 82% free throw shooter, so again, it does make sense to try to attack and change things up a bit. And Bain can come away with a couple of points, and he does, and he ties it at 47. Malik Bryant back in for Spencer.
Well, I mentioned a minute ago about we need a couple of Saints to step up, so let's see what Malik can do.
Balknight also re-enters. Here's Billups to Champion at the elbow. Looking for Bastianoni inside. Great pass and a great finish in traffic by Bastianoni. Bryant at the other end, and Young might have mistimed the jumper. He could have had a throwdown of his own.
Offensive. Great defensive stand by Jack Balknight. Just a fantastic in the open court that is so difficult to execute.
So the turnover goes the other way this time for the Nighthawks. That's their 11th turnover. Now some pressure shown by the Nighthawks in the backcourt, and no problem negotiating it for Flagler. Figueroa for 3.
What a huge basket.
Saints back on top after the Figueroa triple. Billups too tall, and a couple of turnovers now in a row for North Georgia, and it gives it back to the Saints.
Well, let's take advantage of it right now, Dave. North Georgia was up 4 points. We've gone on a little run. We're now up 1. If we can score here and get a little separation, that's going to go a long way in building confidence on offense.
We'll get it to Cal Young way out. Now he weaves his way inside. A reverse layup. It's the patience he has and the body control.
Great patience and they were coming from the backside, and instead of trying to go up on the near side, he went underneath with a reverse layup. Fantastic body control.
Nice closeout by Balknight, and then Champion misses in close. Flagler clears the board. Kyle Young again. Balknight right into the hands of Figueroa for three. Kept alive by Young, but right into the hands of Shedenhelm. Smith gives it up. Bastianoni for three. Champion working hard for the board, and he draws the foul. I thought Kyle Young had pretty good position there for the defensive rebound, and somehow Champion just either outworked him or the ball was sort of a fortuitous bounce.
You can't really focus too much on the officiating. It's been a pretty clean game with not a lot of fouls, but certainly there was a lot of contact in there. A good part of it initiated by Champion. So, you're hoping for the call to go the other way. On the other hand, previous to that play, we've had a couple of calls go our way. So things have a way of averaging out.
It's 52-49 Saints. The under 8 timeout will step aside. Saints by 3. 7:57 to play. And free throws coming as Champion will step to the line.
Tyler Collier and Boom Reeves have come back into the game for Flagler.
Champion's just a 64% free throw shooter. He makes the first. Has a chance to cut it to 1. And he's up to 18 points. Almost feels, and we know we talked about how good he is, but it almost feels like a quiet 18, if there's such a thing.
Yes, he definitely has not been as impactful this half so far as he was in the first half.
Credit the Flagler coaches for making some adjustments. Balknight gets it in his hands, under 10 to shoot. Back out to Bryant. Bryant's going to go one-on-one. Tough floater in the lane. And an offensive foul, I believe, called on Malik Bryant. And it'd be nice to see a replay. We don't have replay capability, but on a little floater like that, it seems like hard to commit a charge. It seemed like he was in control.
The amount of physicality on his way to the basket to not be called, and then you call that, seems a little inconsistent.
Champion has it taken away by Reeves.
Great play by Reeves.
Work it back to Bryant. Bryant has been very quiet. 3 points. He gets it to Reeves. Oh, a tremendous spin in the lane and the finish. Boom, Reeves.
What a tremendous 360 spin, avoiding the offensive call and then being able to have the finesse to finish above the rim.
Three-pointer at the other end is good. An answer from Case Roach. And we're tied at 54. It almost seemed like Reeves spun the wrong way. Or not the natural way that you would expect.
his radar was working because they were all set up for the offensive foul.
Here's Collier on the low block, draws the double team, passes out of it to Figueroa. Unselfish play by the Saints.
Okay, that's Flagler basketball. That's what they're going to need down the last 6 minutes here.
Billups, who's quieted off after a big first half, goes right to the 10 and lays it in. Billups has 9 in the game to go with 10 rebounds. Balknight has it taken away. Shedenhelm and a run out for Billups. Good sequence there by the Nighthawks, turning defense into offense, forcing the turnover, and then getting the bucketing close at the other end. Malik blocked from behind by Champion. He's one of the best in the league at blocks as well as steals. And some changes as Bastianoni checks back in for Roach. The Saints will stand pat here. And that one intercepted on the inbounds play. That's at least 3 inbounds plays that have resulted in turnovers. And White is fouled on his way to the hoop by Bryant.
Yeah, that was very unfortunate. When you have a baseline inbound, the last thing you want to do is turn the ball over. I mean, that's an opportunity for the offense to set up and do what they want to do. They're in charge, and to just turn it over like that and then allowing North Georgia to get an uncontested layup. In this case, they fouled, but same difference.
As a coach, I can tell you're feeling the pain of Coach Stellan and his staff.
Yeah.
This is White at the line, makes the first one. And this will make it a 4-point lead for the Nighthawks.
Okay, that would have equaled their biggest lead of the second half, so a little bit of a break for the Saints.
Collier has the basketball a long way from the basket for his game. Starts to back it down on Champion, gives it up to Balknight. Now back to Young in close, and then tipped away from behind into the hands of Champion. And Champion is going to attack and draw the foul. The shot does not go. Champion might have been better off giving that one up. He had an open man on his wing. He could have potentially gotten it back. But a guy who's that good, I guess you don't necessarily question a guy who can score in bunches the way Frank Champion does.
He's been making his free throws tonight. His free throw shooting percentage is not exceptional, but he's going to come away with something. I thought it was unfortunate back down at the other end of the baseline. I thought that Kyle got chopped and the ball came loose there because you mentioned number 10, Scheidenheim. He and Jack Balknight have been feisty together all night, fighting each other. And Scheidenheim has been responsible for 2 or 3 of the Flagler turnovers. So you got to give him a little credit for his fight.
Lemons works back out to the point, and Spencer Bain. Got the 2 big guys on the floor at the same time. They were kind of bunched up together on the right side. Now Collier will try another long jumper. That may have been a 3. It rimmed off. Bryant open for a triple. Malik 1 of 7 from the floor, and Champion makes him pay at the other end.
Oh, that was very, very unfortunate. We had a chance to make it a 1-point game, and now it's gone to 6. Plenty of time.
Tick under 4 minutes to go. 6-point game. Balknight, or excuse me, that's Lemons. A very tough shot on the finger roll.
What a great take, and couldn't have come at a better time.
Phillips Billups feeds Champion. They go back to their workhorse on the low block, draws the double team, steps underneath, and lays it in. Young asking for an offensive foul, throwing the elbow.
Hooking. He hooked him going baseline.
Back to a 6-point lead. And Lemons needs some help. Oh, and he is bailed out. Thankfully for Jalen Lemons, he was in a lot of trouble. And that gets us to the under 4 timeout. 64-58, North Georgia leading. Flagler basketball, down 6.
Big offensive set here for the Saints.
Collier going at Champion, has a shot blocked. Billups to Champion. And Bastianoni with an offensive board and is fouled on the putback.
What a tough play. They walled up on Champion. Shut him down from getting to the rim. He took an off-balance shot, and it shot right out to number 12, who got fouled.
Bastianoni shooting free throws.
Yeah.
This was a close game up in Georgia. The Nighthawks won at 86-85 in overtime. In fact, Bastianoni had a good game that day, a career-high 29 points, and he was 4 of 8 from long range. North Georgia leads the series 19-8, but Flagler's won 7 of the last 10 in a series that dates to 1980. Here's Bryant on the low block. And Collier's there to clean it up. Well, a tough night for Malik Bryant, but nice job of Collier crashing the boards. Saints seem to have an advantage size-wise when you have both Collier and Young in there. Why not, try to exploit it? And that time, I think the size won out.
And Dave, you make a great point, because we were talking just a minute ago during the timeout that North Georgia, earlier in the game, and then now in the last 3 or 4 minutes, has done a great job hedging up high on the ball screens and trapping the guard. And we've turned it over, and we haven't been able to hit our big guy on the slip. So the answer to that is to start going to the basket. And Malik really fought hard, and he got a good shot up there. But because he drew all that attention, it allowed Collier and Young to get in deep for the offensive rebound. Great play, and we need to get a stop right now.
2:33 to go, a 6-point game, and let's reset it for you. The Nighthawks are in the bonus. They've committed 5 fouls, so the Saints are still a couple fouls away from the bonus. 2 timeouts remain for Flagler, 3 for North Georgia, and the Nighthawks have the possession arrow. So back out for Flagler. It's Spencer Bain, Jalen Lemons, Tyler Collier, Malik Bryant, and Boom Reeves. So an interesting group on the floor with 2:33 to go. And at this point, you think maybe Coach Sellen is thinking defense, offensive type substitutions?
Absolutely, absolutely. We really need a good defensive stand right here.
Bastianoni passes out of the double team now to White. They get it across the timeline. Extra pass, Bastianoni inside. Lead up to 8.
There's that hedge.
Saints should have numbers at this point. Get it to Collier, not his shot. Spencer Bain weaving through traffic, draws lots of contact, hits the floor, and the ball goes out of bounds. Last touch by the Saints. Not a lot of protests from the Saints bench or from Bain on that one.
No, valiant effort by Spencer. He just couldn't quite get to the point where he could finish it, lay it up above the rim.
And now numbers for North Georgia. Again, Bastioni leaks out underneath. Turns around and it falls in.
He is really a terror under the basket like that.
Giancarlo Bastianoni, 6'8", 215. Lemons. Saints also haven't gotten the rolls.
No.
A lot of shots that have been halfway down or rolled off the edge, whereas it seems like a lot of those for North Georgia have fallen in. It's an unscientific study by me, but it just feels that way, that the Saints haven't gotten the breaks when it comes to close shots.
Well, we just spoke about the penetration, and he got it, but he couldn't finish.
On the backdoor cut, Champion finds White, and it's a 12-point lead. 1 minute to play. Floater from Lemons. Quick timeout called by the Saints. We'll keep it right here for the final 50 seconds. Coach, stranger things have happened. A 10-point lead. It can be erased. It's 50 seconds. It's low probability. But how do you draw this up if you're in the huddle?
Well, first of all, they just, on the previous defensive set, they set up their full court press. Time is of the essence right now. The clock is not in our favor. So they're going to have to press full court, hope for a deflection. Maybe we'll foul, although they're in the bonus. You cannot let the clock run down. To try to make up 10 points in 50 seconds, you're going to need a couple of three-pointers, a couple of turnovers, and then a touch of good luck. So
do you play for the steal first and then foul, try to set it to the line, stop the clock, and get the ball back on a potential miss?
Exactly. You don't want them to get that breakaway run-out, uncontested layup. So that happens, then it's all over. And what you want are plays that Jalen Lemons just pulled off. A very tough, spinning, short jump shot. Got the basket. I thought he deserved an and one, but that's what we're going to have to do.
North Georgia's not a great free throw shooting team, 69% as a squad. So here comes the defensive pressure. They'll throw over the top, and Malik Bryant knocked it away into the hands of Lemons. And then a foul, and that was an easy finish for Reeves if the whistle had not blown. Instead, the clock does stop with 39.4.
You know, if you ever want to see an official see the whole play, that was it, because it wasn't a really heavy-duty foul, and Flagler had an uncontested layup. So
there's Lemons, rolls one in. Now it's an 8-point game with 34 ticks to go. Bastianoni up top, for Champion, and that might have done it. Lead back up to 10 with 25 ticks to go. Left short, whistle. I think they'll get Champion here for a foul. He's pleading his innocence. It is against Frank, and that is his third personal.
No, he had his hands down waist level, and he was pushing Boom Reeves out of the way. So that's a good call. That's not.
That sends Reeves to the line to shoot 1 and 1.
And as we spoke, that's the gamble you have to take with full court pressure. And when the other team has a Champion at the other end, once it's over half court, it's pretty much a done deal.
Meanwhile, Billups is fouled, so he'll step to the line to shoot 1 and 1.
So I think we're going to see at the end of the game, when we look at the stats, that the Flagler three-point shooting in the second half did not improve much over the first half, and that's going to hurt us because we really rely on shooting 42-43%, and we're nowhere near that.
Yeah, we're at 31.8, 7 of 22 shooting. In the second half, it's 3 of 8 from 3. Figueroa, no. And the refs will swallow their whistles here for the final seconds. Final score, North Georgia wins it 76-64. The Nighthawks improved to 12 and 2 on the season, 5 and 1 in the PBC. Flagler drops to 8 and 10 and 2 and 5. Well, we'll talk to Coach Sellen here, or we expect to. I'm sure he's disappointed about the way the last 5 minutes or so went. That was anyone's ball game through 35 minutes.
Well, you and I spoke on or about the 13-minute mark where the game had become sloppy. And we had 4 or 5 turnovers that prevented us from getting any separation. And then when North Georgia came back, that pretty much told the story.
So Coach will join us here. Coach Sellen steps up, fights his way through the crowd. And Coach, we're just talking about that was anyone's game with 5 minutes to go or so. What happened in those final minutes?
Yeah, that's a tough one there. They just wanted it a little bit more. We just weren't tough enough down the stretch, and too many mistakes just led to more mistakes those last 5 minutes. So we'll go watch film. I haven't seen the stats, but I'm sure we had 20-some turnovers, and we can't do that, especially in crunching time. That's one thing we talk as a staff. We just haven't earned the right to win yet. With a young team, and we just haven't earned the right to win. We're in every game and late. That's sad to see us, lose by 12 right there when we're up 3 with 5 minutes to go. That's tough, and that's just our toughness. But that's what we keep working for, is just trying to find earn the right to win the game.
Coach Harding talked a little bit about not shooting up to your numbers from 3. It was 30.4, and he thought you're typically a 40% three-point shooting team. Did that play a factor?
Absolutely. I mean, credit to them. They straight punked us on the defensive end, and that's sad to see. I mean, we just weren't physical. We played to them. They came in with a great plan. Like I said, credit to them, and they out physical us on the defensive end and caused us to take some really tough shots, and we couldn't get the ball moving, and we got some stuff to clean up and everything like that. So
first half, you're playing Collier and Kyle Young together, and they seem pretty effective both defensively and offensively. Did that change, or did something that North Georgia change along the way?
No, I mean, we like that matchup. It gives us a little bigger size, a little more physicality, with JB out this year, and when we think that's good for us. But Kyle got really tired down the stretch. He had a heck of a game. We're asking for him to do a lot, and he just got really tired down the stretch, and so did Tyler. And that's just, conditioning there on us. And but yeah, I mean, credit to them. They made shots when they needed to be, and we just weren't tough enough at some plays.
You go on the road against another of the good teams, in fact, a great team, Augusta, so things don't necessarily get any easier schedule-wise.
That's one thing in this league. Nothing's easy, and that's what our team's learning. It's a bunch of got some new faces, and we just got to keep learning and taking steps, and that's what we're gonna aim to do.
Coach, thanks for taking the time.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate
Thank you so
it.
much.
That's Coach Blake Selland joining us here. The final again, 76-64. And we'll bring Coach Joe Harding back in. Pleasure to have you on the broadcast, Coach. You see things, obviously, that a coach sees that the civilian doesn't see. And I think Coach Selland made your point is that defensively, North Georgia had a great scheme in terms of hedging on the guards, and Flagler didn't necessarily have the obvious solution to that.
Correct. They not only hedged, but the trap was so good that they were forcing the Flagler ball handler to pick up his dribble. Now you're in jeopardy because you've got one big guy and another guy, and they're suffocating you. You're halfway to midcourt. You can't go over the top to the slip, so you need somebody to come back up the sidelines to come to the ball, and you've got to work. You've got to be tough and strong to make some sort of bounce pass out of there. Now, the advantage to that is that toward the end, we were able to do that, and Jalen Lemons then took it to the hoop because we had the 4-on-3 advantage, and we got some production out of that. So, listen, every coach Monday morning quarterbacks himself after the game.
Well, if you're a coach right now, what positives do you take away? What are you telling your kids in the locker room if you're Coach Selland?
Well, first of all, I'm telling them that they did not let Champion dominate. In fact, North Georgia did not dominate inside. I will say, and I don't pronounce his name well, that
Ostianoni?
He was clearly the game changer. Earlier in the game, he had a couple of those plays underneath, and he's got a deceiving length to him because I don't know what his official height is, but
he's 6'8".
Okay, so he was able to get that ball up high, and a credit to him, with bodies all over him, he was able to finesse it up over the rim and score. And you saw what happened down the stretch. As I said, after that middle of the half, 6 or 7 minute period, when we turned the ball over and we didn't get separation, all of a sudden, North Georgia hits a couple shots, and now Austin Toney is making plays underneath, and they got that 8-point differential because, I can't say specifically, nobody in the first half had more than a 4-point lead. Maybe Flagler very, very early in the game might have been up 6.
Right.
But it was back and forth. We ended at, 30-30 at the half.
That's right.
And then it stayed that way in the second half, but it was sloppy for a while. And then, unfortunately, North Georgia made those 2 shots in a row from the perimeter they hadn't been able to do. Champion got a basket, and Austin Toney got a couple, and we're down 8, and then the clock is your enemy.
One more point. Kyle Young really had a great game. 20 points, 9 of 14 from the floor, and 7 rebounds.
Absolutely. And, again, you asked, what does a coach build on in the locker room? You want to talk about the team strategy going into the game, the execution. Clearly, Tyler and Kyle together offset the inside game of an all-star like Champion. We just couldn't make the difference up. And let's give North Georgia credit. They didn't allow us to have the kind of looks from the three-point line that we like, which knocked our percentage shooting down. And, as I said, every coach Monday morning quarterbacks himself. It may be that Blake and Kip later tonight say, I wish we had told Malik, Jalen, Omar to go to the hoop harder and more often, because as we talked, when they got in there, the North Georgia bigs had to come over to help, freeing up Kyle and Tyler for the offensive rebounds if we couldn't make the basket. That may have been a way to keep the game close and not let North Georgia get that distance.
Well, Coach, it was a pleasure having you along on the broadcast. We hope you come back for more. For Joe Harding, Laurel Plexico, and Michaela Roma, I'm Dave Wenda. The final again, 76-74, North Georgia wins. Good night, everyone.